I've always sort of known that I was meant to be a diver since I started, because I'd never enjoyed anything as much as I have diving. Most of the sort of pressure I feel comes from myself and just wanting to dive my best and wanting to get the best result that I can. Training hard and visualising will help to just being in the moment there in Beijing. Yeah, I have always dreamed of Olympic gold because that's just the peak of diving, and that's probably what every diver wants.
Flashing back to 2008, a youngster by the name of Melissa Wu preparing for her Olympic debut. Now she's about to make history in Paris, and we are thrilled to have her here in the Wide World of Sports studio. She's with Ellie Cole. Good morning.
Well, that was some amazing footage. Mel's just told me that she hasn't seen that footage before.
No, not since, well, it was taken a long time ago. I don't even remember that footage being taken, but yeah, it's a bit of a blast from the past. Good to see.
It is a blast from the past. Does it feel like a lifetime ago that you went to your first Olympic Games?
It really does. I have very clear memories from when I was younger, and especially leading up to it, trying to make the Olympics was everything to me when I was younger. But I think then you kind of get carried away in what you want to achieve and always looking forward, that when you stop and look back, you go, geez, that was a long time ago. It's crazy.
It feels like a long time ago, but it also goes by so quickly. And, you know, you've been around diving for such an incredibly long time. At 16 years of age, winning a silver medal. Did the enormity of that medal when you were 16 sink in at the time? And did you take the moment to appreciate it? Because you were such a young age then.
Yeah, I definitely don't think that not that I didn't appreciate it, but I think when you're young, you're training really hard, and I definitely felt for me in Beijing there was a little bit of an expectation to go and win a medal, because especially in synchro, my partner and I had been having a lot of international success in the year before. So I think for me, I was so nervous about doing that. It felt a bit like ticking a box when I was able to do it. And then of course it was get on with the next thing. And then I think then focusing more on individual and trying to get that Olympic medal again, it took me another 12 years to be able to finally do that in Tokyo. And I think that that's when it really sinks in exactly what that means and the enormity of what it takes to win an Olympic medal.
Do you think that after the time that you waited, that 12 years between medals, do you think that that second medal, you appreciated that more because of the experience of what you'd been through as an athlete and how long you had been on the team for?
Definitely. I definitely appreciate it a lot more, not just because of the time and everything that it took, but as I got older, I got more injured. Even to make the team, you know, you never know when, you know, something could happen, your career might be over. So the team that it takes behind you to get you there is massive. So for me, that medal was not just in terms of physically being able to get there with injury and the people that helped me, but mentally as well. I had a lot more synchro success when I was younger because I always felt more comfortable having someone standing there next to me. But from a young age, I would always bomb in individual and consistently not hit what I was capable of and would let people down. So for me, that medal in Tokyo was a really good example for me of that. I think that journey of, like, for mindset and me being confident in myself as a person as well.
And you spoke just before about the expectations on the athletes and how much expectation we can place on ourselves. And you've been quite transparent over your career about how you've managed nerves. Yeah. Do you think that that's evolved for you over the last 4 Olympics that you've been to, and how you've managed nerves and how you've grown to know yourself more as an athlete?
Definitely. I think when I was younger, I was put in these situations where I, you know, would have to compete on the highest level, and I know that I just didn't have the skills mentally to kind of deal with that. And that pressure was really hard from a young age. And I think when you get to an Olympics, you only have that chance once every 4 years. And the pressure you put on yourself leading into that competition is enormous. So it took a lot of time and working with a psychologist to build those skills and to focus a lot more on the process and what's important in the lead up to be able to get that result, rather than just focusing on scores and medals and that kind of thing. And it still changes for me over time. I feel like every Olympic cycle we have a new challenge, and my psychologist helps me deal with that. I think it's definitely a bit more heavily weighted on, you know, being able to work around injuries and that kind of thing. And this trials was no different. I came in quite underprepared in terms of battling some injuries, and I didn't have the amount of prep I was hoping for. So that was a whole different, I guess, mind game to be able to overcome that leading into this Olympics.
It really is a new challenge every time, and congratulations on the trials. I think we do have to mention that you have just qualified for your 5th Olympic Games, and if you think about the impact on your body that diving has 5 Olympics for a diver is just incredible.
Thank you.
Yeah, it really is incredible. So if we look forward to Paris now, Paris is only 29 days away. I'm sure you're really looking forward to it, and maybe your goals may have changed as you have evolved as an athlete. So what are your goals for Paris, and what would you walk away from Paris with, knowing that it will be a successful Games?
I think at this point in my career, I've learnt to deal with that pressure around competition. It's all about the process, like I mentioned. So I'll go into this Games exactly the same, focusing on one dive at a time. And if I can put down some really solid lists and dive a little bit more the way that I know I can. The last few years I've had a few disappointing results, and I have been plagued by a lot of injuries since Tokyo. So to be able to have a really good competition and walk away happy with that, then that's a good competition for me.
Absolutely, I agree with that 100%. Now, I've got a critically important question here. We do know that Tubby, it's just been announced that he will be our diving commentator for the Olympic Games. So you've just met him. Based on his physique and his form and his athleticism, do you think he'd be more of a 3-metre springboard guy? Or do you think he'd be a 10-metre?
Look, I think springboard's definitely a good place to start, but I reckon he's got the guts for 10-metre though.
I think so too.
You look like you don't mess around, so I'd say walk on up to the top and give it a go.
Excellent advice from Melissa Wu. Thank you, Mel, for coming in today. We're very lucky to have you, and all the best for Paris. And Tubby, what do you think about that, Roz?
I think we should send Tubby on assignment.
Well, I mentioned earlier that my diving goes back to the Wagga Pool back in the 1970s. I did walk up. It had a 10-metre platform back in the 70s. I walked up there, got up to the top, looked down and went, oh no, and I did the walk of shame all the way back down the stairs. So no, I don't know about the platform.
We're going to have to get you out there to face your fears. We'll do it as a special Wide World of Sports